guys, so thanks for stopping by today. Today we are going to be using the Cricut card mat, the 2x2 that is specific for any of the Cricut Explore lines or the Cricut Maker lines. So if you have been around a while, you know that the Cricut Joy was the one doing all the fun cards because it had the small card mat, but Cricut released a mat that we can do up to 4 cards at a time with the larger machines. So we are going to be learning how to make these fun cards. Been making quite a few. So one of my favorites, so cute. Yes, already making some Christmas cards. Okay, so what you will be needing is the card mat, and I will link all these below. So the card mat comes for the 4 cards. So there's 4 different kind of the small Cricut Joy mats in one, if you will. There are 2 layers to them, and when you first get the card mat, it will have protective sheets on it, just like any other cutting mat. So you will want to take these off before you use it, and it covers 2 of them. So if you're not going to use those 2, you can leave it on, but you will want to take these off. And then you will notice that on these now there are numbers down on the bottom. So 10, 20, 30, and 40. And this corresponds to the new card sizes that Cricut released. So we will go over that in a minute. And it just kind of tells you real quickly how to do this, how to do a card. There is an opening kind of right in these sides here. So to insert a card, you just kind of slide it underneath the top plastic part. Okay, and making sure you get it all the way up, flush with the top to where it stops, and as far as you can get it into the crease of the card. And you'll see that this one goes over to the 10. So this is the R10. And then you just fold that down, and then the top sticks on it, okay? And then we cut the top one there. Okay, so the new ones, like I said, there's different types. This one here, they're small ones, and I know it's really hard to see, but this is an R10 card, and these are 3.5 by 4.9 inches, or 8.9 by 12.4 centimeters. So these are the smallest ones. So this will correlate with the 10 here. So in here, I got a pack that had a bunch of different cards and then a bunch of holographic inserts. So I will be using these. So then there is the R20, and I will write all of these below because I don't have all of these card sizes with me, but I will write what they correlate to. The R30 and then an R40. They're the square ones here. So when you get to the 40, there's an R40 and an S40. And the S40 is the square 40, so there are square cards that you can use. Like this one I used here is a square 40. And this is actually a foil transfer card. So it has foil in there, and we will be doing 1 card with the foil to show you. So that's an S40. So if you have the old cards just from like the Cricut Joy, they will still say Cricut Joy on them. And this is the 4.25 by 5.5. So it doesn't have the R distinction on it yet, but I think they will probably start coming out with the R's on it. So you know. So this one, you know, easy to figure out what it is. These ones are our 20s because it comes up to the 20. So you have, and we will go over this in Design Space because you will have to specify on what size of cards you want in Cricut Design Space. So that's a bit about the cards. They come in all sorts of different sizes, different amounts in the packs. There's also cutaway cards. I'm not going to really go over the cutaway cards in this video, but I will link my post below that goes over how to use those. So, and also with these cards, we're going to be using, doing a lot of cards that have using the write function that they're going to draw for me. Like this one, the red is all using a pen. So I'm using a bunch of different Cricut pens. Some of them are the fine points, some of them are glitter gel. So I just have a bunch of these that I will be using, and we will designate which ones we're going to use in Design Space too, so we know what to do when it comes. Okay, so that's a little bit about the card. So we are going to jump into Design Space. There's a few kind of tricks and tips I want to show you on how to cut the 4 different cards at one time if you're using different cards, and also if you're going to do the same ones. So let's jump into that and check it out. Okay, so we are going to look at how to make some of these cards in Design Space. And I'm sorry, my kids are home. I have a new puppy, so if it's loud in the background, I apologize. So I just want to show you how I go about doing these. So if you want to do it super easy and quick, the first way you can do it is actually to go into My Projects up on the top. And then here with the Explore, it brings up all of the different things you can have. Here's a cutaway card. And then down there's actually insert cards here. So if you click on that, ones that are already good to go come up, and you can just click on one. And here are the different sizes that I mentioned that you can pick. The R10 is the smallest one, which is the 3.5 by 4.9. The R20 is the 4.25 by 5.5 inch. The R30 is 4.5 by 6.25 inch. And the R40 is the largest at 4.75 by 6.625. And I will write all those in the description below. But you can pick whichever card you want like this and click on Make It. And it will take you directly to this sheet. And you can see over on the left side, this is where you're going to be able to change anything if you want. It's already on the card mat that we're going to be using. And you can see that it automatically centers it. When I chose the R10 side. If I actually change this to R20, you can see it changes the card size, but it doesn't change the image size because we had already said it was going to be R10. So that's one thing with these cards. Okay, but say you don't want to use one of those and you want to design one yourself. So we're going to go into the images section. And I just like to type in insert cards up here. And you will see that tons of results, 11,000 or so. And you can click on the little 3 dots up on the top. If you want a little bit more information, sometimes it will have the size if there's specific sizes, but we can always change the size. So we're not too worried about that. So we are going to let's see, grab one that I had here. And there are so many. They're so cute. It's so hard to decide on one. I'm actually going to type in insert cards flowers. And more come up. Let's see. So say these 2 right here, you can see there's 2 and you're like, whoa, why is there? But if you actually just kind of hover over it, or if you click on this, you'll see that this is an A2 size and this was an A1 size. So those are the Cricut Joy sizes. So you might see some of those around. But let's just click on this one. These might be a little bit different than the ones I already picked. So I'll show you this one. Okay, so we're just going to do a couple here and add them in. Let's make this smaller. Okay, so just to show you, first of all, that these, if you click on them, you can see the size. So this is a 4 by 5 1/4, and up here you can also see the size. So this one would actually be fit on an R20. Because the one thing about when you're using images like this, they have to be 1/4 of an inch, 0.25 of an inch smaller on each side to fit the card. So this card would fit a 4 1/4 by a 5 1/2 card, which is the R20. So that's why this is 1/4 of an inch smaller. So just so you know that everything has to be 1/4 of an inch smaller. So this one is actually looks like the smallest one. So this one would fit on an R10 because that card is a 3 1/2 by a 4.9. Okay, and then these guys are the squares. And then this one looks like it's an R10 also because it's a 3 1/4. Okay, so when you can only cut the same size on one mat. So if I went to make these right now, these two that are the same size right here, 3 1/4, 4.65, would be on one mat. These guys are square, so they would be on a different mat. And this one would be on a totally different mat because it's bigger. So say I want these three on the same mat and the same size. So I'm going to just change the side to the 3 1/4 by 4.65. So I'm just going to come up here and unlock this and then just type 3.25 and then this one by 4.65 and click enter. Okay, so that changes the size to exactly what this one is. So now these three are all the same size. So the rectangle ones, they stay pretty proportionate. So you shouldn't have a problem. If I wanted to change this to a rectangle, it would look a little funky. So I probably wouldn't do that. So all of these up here are, you can see over on the layers panel that they have pins to them and then the basic cut. So you can see, but you can also, so the Cricut's going to tell you which pin to install. So if you want to change the pin, I'm just going to, over here on the layers panel, I'm actually going to click on this pin and the operation of pin will come up and the color will come here. So if I wanted to change this so that I remember exactly which card I'm working on and what color I wanted, I could come in here and to change it to wine. And so now it will tell me to insert the wine. Okay, so you can do that with any of these. Just come over. I find it just easiest because they're already grouped to just click on the pin thing here. Okay, say instead of a pin, you want foil. You can also do that. So under operation, I would change this to foil. And then I like to use medium. And then you can change your foil here. I'm going to leave it at gold. Okay, so now that is a foil. And you can see over on your layers panel exactly what we're doing. We're doing a medium foil. We're doing the pin. And this pin is a fine point very berry, which is fine with me. And the basic cut. Okay, so you have all of those. And that's what I did with this one. I changed this to the foil here. So you can see I did the foil on the cake. So this kind of card like here, I just wanted to show you is all a cut. So this one won't use a pin at all. So I just wanted to show you kind of a different one. So let me hide these guys because I wanted to, oops, let me just hide this. Okay, so let me just show you, because since these are the same size, we want to make them on one mat, right? So I'm going to click on Make It, and let's see what happens. So I'm going to use On Card Mat, so I'm just going to click on this and click Continue, and they're on different mats. So I had said that they'd be on one mat, right? So the issue with this is that Cricut separates things based on their color. So we're going to have to change them to the same color. So this one right here actually was the same color, so it already lined up on this mat, so this mat would be good to go. If you need to change anything, you can change it over here. There's only, so this was a square, so it's already the S40 there. Okay, so these two happen to be the same color, so it ended up on the same mat. So I am actually going to move this one. So you can do this in a couple different ways. I can actually click on this 3 and move this object and click on here. And then I'm going to click confirm. So now all 3 of them are here. So you can do it that way. The other way that I do it, I'm going to cancel this, is go into this color sync panel up here, and you'll see that right now these are all the different images and the colors. So this one, so you can see this one right here is in the brown and this one is in the brown. So I actually want this one to also be in the brown. So I can just click on this over here and drag it down and click on the brown. So now it turns it's the color. It doesn't matter. I'm going to put whatever card in I want, but this will make it on one mat. So now we have this mat right here for one color and this mat right here. Okay, so now when I go to make it and click on card mat, continue, we have that mat, and then we have all 3 on here. So these ones are there. And again, like I said, if you try to change the size right now, it's not going to change the size of the image. So we need to keep that how it was. Okay, so now these are set to cut. So just to reiterate, if we wanted to change any of these colors of pins, say for some reason I wanted this frog, this mushroom to be like purple or something, I could come down here and change it to purple just so that the Cricut will tell me exactly what to use. Okay, so that is how you get them to be the same size and to cut them all on one mat. Okay, so then when we go to make it, they're all on our mats. We're going to continue. It is going to connect to my Explore Air 2. Okay, so once it connects, you're going to select your base material. And I like to go into Browse All Materials. And then under Cardstock, you can see you have all these different types of cards. So I'm going to be using the insert card right here. But if you're going to be using like the cutaway card, and this I will link below my post that I kind of talk about that if you're doing it. But I'm going to choose insert cards because all of the ones I'm using are that. So I'm going to click on done. And then you will see it will tell me exactly what to do every step. It says move those wheels to the center of the rail. So I'm going to move all 4 into the middle. And so the mat will go right there. I'm going to load my tawny pin first and my fine point blade. And you can see coming up, I have all these other pins for this mat. And then when we're going to go on to this one, we're going to do different things because I have a foil on there. So I'm going to have to put my foil transfer tip in there, plus add some foil on it. But like I said, the Cricut Design Space will walk me through each step. Okay, so let's get into the mat and start cutting these out. And then with your Cricut machine, you want to make sure your rollers are in the middle. So they're going to go down the middle of this because the mat is too thick. And if you leave them on the sides, it can crease your card. So some of them are a little bit sticky, but kind of with your fingers, you can kind of grab them and just push all 4 of them just right into the middle there. Okay, so we're going to load the mat and then we're going to put that on. So I like to have my laptop here just right next to me, just so I can see which card is which one and I can decide what color I want to be. So my first one is kind of that pretty flower one. So I am going to, and these ones again are the R10, the 3.5 by 4.9. So I'm going to put this one in first up here. So again, so with the mats, there is that opening right there, and that is where the card slides in. So I'm going to open the card and just slide that right in there. all the way so it's flush against the top here, and this crease is flush against this line. And I'm going to push it as far in as I can get it. And it should come up to about the 10 line right here because we're doing the R10s. And then we're just going to fold this card over and press it down. And if you have a brayer, you can also press that down to make sure that's as over as far as it will go. And then my next one is my birthday card, and I am going to do that one so I have those, so I'm going to load it. And again, with the mat is slightly bigger than where my two leaders are here. So I'm going to push it as far over to this left one as possible, just so it centers better. So you might have to play with your mat once or twice and kind of see how things center. If it centers a little bit off, you might want to push it to the other side, but mine, I'm pushing it all the way to this left side and holding it all the way up just like any other mat, and then pushing my load button there. And then I'm just watching my screen and doing exactly what it says. So right now it is telling me to actually load one of mine is the foil transfer. So it's telling me to load my foil transfer in here. So I'm going to do that. And a pin on this side. So I'm going to use this glitter pin. And I always like to have a piece of paper and just kind of write on it just to make sure it is working. So I'm going to open my clamp A and push that down until it clicks and close it. And then my sea light is flashing, so I'm going to push it and let this go. Okay, so now it's telling me to load turquoise. So I'm going to load my turquoise and press that. Okay, so the turquoise is done and it paused, and now you can see it's telling me to load the thicker green pen. So I am just following all the instructions. You never unload the mat, you just keep it in, pull this out, and then, okay, so this is, I'm gonna load it, the gel pen. We'll see what this one does. Okay, and again, just clicking my blinking C button. So the parts with the writing can take a long time, so that's why I'm pausing and speeding this up a bit. If you have a lot of writing on it, you know, the cards can take 5 minutes or so to do the drawing on it. So it's a nice thing. You can let it go and go do some dishes or let the dog out or get a load of laundry in while it's going. So I'm going to be speeding this up and kind of pausing a lot in between this. Okay, so now it is paused and it's moved all the way over because now it is time for the foil. So it's giving me room to put the foil. Again, not taking the mat out. The mat needs to stay in. So if you have the foil transfer machine, which I do, that's what I'm using on this card. So some of the cards come with little packs in them, or you can have the standard size of the foils. So I'm gonna put a gold on here. Looks square. And then we need to tape all edges down. So the foil comes with the tape already. So I kind of lift it, it sticks to it real quick. And I'm going to tape it on one side first. I'm going to make sure the tape is really down. And I'm going to make sure it's really tight and tape it down on this side. And then taping down on that side. And then the top. And I just want to try to get it as flat and tight on the top, because if one of them is going to come up, it's going to be the top where the roller runs over that. Okay, so I have that there, and I have my thing in, and you can see that it told me here to put the tape, gold foil, shiny side up, tape it down, and to make sure I have my tip in. So it tells me everything to do. Okay, so now I'm just going to press the blinking light. And now, looking at my computer again, do not unload the mat. So we're just going to remove the gold. Going to put the fine point blade in and press the go. So I'm just going to start kind of from one edge. And I shouldn't have gotten that on there. I thought about that as soon as I put it on there, because now it's sticking to my mat. So I'm going to have to clean my mat and get that gold off there. So you really just want it to stick to the material. So I don't know if you can see all that gold there. It's very pretty. Okay, so I'm going to remove this, my foil, and put in my fine point blade to the housing. And then just press go. So now that it's done with the drawing and the writing and the foil, it is going to cut all the cards at one time. So this will also take a couple minutes, so I'm just gonna pause this and speed it up so you don't have to just watch this part. Okay, so it's all done cutting out. So just these 3 cards probably took 15 to 20 minutes to do everything. So they do take a while if you have intricate cards. I'm just going to push the unload button here that's flashing to unload my mat. Okay. And then I like to use kind of my scraper to get the card started. Depending on how many times you've used your mat is how sticky it's going to be. The first one, it's pretty sticky. And then I'm just going to pull with my fingers. Okay. And then we're going to pull that right out. You can see all of those are just left there. And this is the inside. So I might do, this is always the hardest part of picking out what to put in the middle, but I think I was going to do the actual glitter on it. So all you do is stick them in those 4 corners that were made. Okay, so look how pretty that is, the gold. And all set just for kind of an everyday card. Okay, so this one is the fun one with the gold foil. Put the gold also behind it. That's kind of fun too. So I just make a bunch of them and you can play with how you want them. Or you could leave it out in the corner if you want. I might like that. Always like the glitter, more sparkly. Okay, and then our last one here is the pretty butterflies. And we'll just put in the holographic. And just leave them out the corners. Even do it this way. So with these corners, do it a couple different ways. I'm actually going to have that line out on the front there. So I'm just sticking them in the back side. And look how cool that one is. The butterfly wings kind of come up. Okay, so many different cards you can make. And then I just use my scraper and then just scrape these off. Want to make sure you put the plastic sheets back over them before you store them to keep the stickiness, keep things from dust, dog hair, all that kind of stuff getting on them. But there's just a fun way to use your Maker or your Explorer to cut these gorgeous cards that were always for the Cricut Joy. These were some other ones I made. My Christmas ones is another foil one. So cool. So there is a different, the cutaway, I'm not going over the cutaway in this video. I do have, it's on my blog post that I'll link below on how to use the cutaways. These are the ones that you cut them the same way. but in the cards, there's actually an adhesive on the back. And so you pull this part off and then stick your paper on it down. And then it cuts a little bit differently. There's a different setting in Cricut Design Space to cut for cutaway cards. And then you actually just pull it out with your fingers. So they don't have the edges or anything, but another really fun way to make cards. So I will link that below on how to get that. So again, just tons of different cards that you can just make for all occasions. So then you can just grab one out of your pack and send them to whoever. But this, having lots of fun with it. So many different things you can do. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss any, and happy crafting.